Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ride and Ride Mechanic channel. How the heck are you doing today? Alright, gonna do a quick video today. I woke up this morning to an email from someone out on the west coast. They were at Magic Mountain when Wonder Woman valleyed. So I want to talk about Wonder Woman valley because I got video for it. And it's pretty cool. Something you don't normally see all the time. So let's check it out.
Now get ready. Here we go.
Alright, we'll forego the normal stuff today. Let's just get right into this video. Coming to me today from the channel's name is Face Ripped Off. That's a cool channel. Face Ripped Off. In the words of Casper Sight, make sure you go to Face Ripped Off channel, subscribe, and do the thing. Love Casper Sight. Wrote into me today and said, I was visiting Six Flags Magic Mountain. It was a windy day. More than half the coasters were closed. I saw that the RMC Raptor Wonder Woman Flight of Courage had valleyed right before the final turn in the brake run. It always happens there. Not Wonder Woman in general, but it just seems like rides in general, man, they get up to the last corner, the very last thing. You're like, it's gonna make it, and it goes, oh, you're like, no, why? Always seems to be the last corner, man. I stumbled upon it right as the train was being winched up and over the turn. It looked like they winched it up with a crane or something. It had it there. They clipped the back of the train to one of the supports so it didn't fall forward. Well, they took the front hook off. They then released the back winch and then allowed the train to go forward into the brake run. It was super interesting to watch, and I was curious what you thought of the method. When they released the train, one of the cables went swinging, banged into the supports quite a bit. Not bad. Not sure if it was all right. It did not open for the rest of the day. Circumstantial. I don't think they had a problem with the roller coaster. The fact that it didn't open the rest of the day, I don't think was a problem with the ride. It was simply just that it was too windy. Magic Mountain up there in the hills gets some days where it has some really high winds, and Magic's pretty good about that go no go gauge where they say, you know, it can run and it can't. We're going to send it, we're not going to send it. So I think they were just there at a day where they had circumstantial winds where a lot of stuff was shut down. I think a lot of us have been at parks when that happened. So before I show you this video, they sent me the full-length video, which is not on their website, or not on their YouTube page from what I understand. They have some shorts regarding it, which is, you know, the full-length video is like 25 minutes long. You don't really need a lot of it. They set the camera up and they just recorded the whole thing, which is really amazing because nobody ever would think to do that. Except for a very rare few people, myself being one of them. It's like, oh no, I want to see this. I want to get this to go. Okay, so that is a Gradall. It's a rough terrain forklift. So they're using that, if you could see, they've got a cable hooked up to the back, and they've got the cable hooked up, and it's going back over towards the ride. See the cable hooked onto the bumper? It's very hard to see right there. Okay, let me pause this here so I can inject my 2 cents. Alright, so what we're looking at here is that here's Wonder Woman. This is the RMC Raptor right here. This is the last turn right here. It's a little bit of like an overbank turn, and then it goes down into the brake run right over here in this area. They've already used the RT, the rough terrain forklift. They've already used that and pulled it up this grade, and they've been pulling it by the front, and they pulled it all the way up to right here, and then they attached, if you could see towards the back right here, they've attached a come-along or a chain pull to the back of the coach, or maybe the last axle or so, and they've secured it to the track and structure. So what they've done is they've pulled the train forward past its 50-50 point. If you look at this element right here, And you could say the high point, the center of the element, is right about where my mouse is, right there. Well, the center of gravity of the train looks to be, there's the back, there's the front. So the center of gravity looks to be about right here. So they've pulled the center of gravity past the high point of the element. So the train at that point has started to roll forward, and hence that's the need for the chain pull on the back side. So this guy is actively holding tension on the train right now. And what they're doing, they're using a man basket here to uncouple everything, and they're working on the inside of the structure area. There is a barricade set up where Face Ripped Off is over there filming, but they have probably used bunches of pulleys, snatch blocks, cables, you name it, and gotten the coaster to this point right here. And now they have arrived, they've started filming, and they're in the process of pretty much just releasing the train right now. Fast forward past some of these parts. I'll use that. I'll record the whole video, but we'll fast forward past a lot of it because there's a lot of this boom lift moving around and people just moving things out of the way just to make sure they're secure and off and things like that. So the video, although it's let's see, it's 15 minutes long roughly, but you know, the majority of it's really not needed, but it's good to see the process. So I do know that in the background, like I can hear there's copyrighted music playing, so I won't be able to use chunks of it, but we'll fast forward through it, try to get past the copyright stuff. So right now the man basket's going up here, and it's very hard to see. I mean, I'm even looking at this on my really big screen right now, but the cable that they were using to pull the train forward is hanging off the front. So right now these guys in the man basket are going up to disconnect that front cable, and the people down below are dismantling the pulleys and things like that, trying to just get the area cleaned back up so it probably can reopen, or the area at least can reopen. I might have to mute the original audio, but you could see right here that they're starting to work on actually uncoupling that cable assembly from the front of that coach. You can now see the ground crews down at the bottom here starting to clean up the cables and stuff like that. They're starting to put some stuff away over there. Luckily, the RMC Raptor trains are light enough. You could just use an RT like that, also commonly referred to as a Gradall, just manufacturer. But you can use those to pull these things around because that RT probably weighs about 10-ish tons, probably 8 to 10 tons, somewhere in there. So it can pull a lot of stuff. Especially in low gear. They're nice hydraulic drive vehicles. But once you step up into a larger roller coaster, those things really can't pull them much past flat because coasters weigh too much compared to that rough terrain forklift. Alright, you can see the guy there now. He's starting to get up there and actually disconnect the stuff. Again, this is so cool that Face Ripped Off was actually able to sit there and just set the camera up and record the whole thing, because I mean, they took 20-ish minutes out of their day watching this, which I would have done the same thing, but most people would have just been like, oh, they're doing something, let's go away. I love the Sutter stuff though, it's really cool. Because it's rare to see one valleyed, but it's even rarer to see one recovered. Okay, you can see a lot of groundwork happening here. They're driving their little vehicles around. They're getting the RT out of the area and stuff like that, because it still is an active park, and security doesn't like to hold up boundaries. So they want those vehicles out of the park as soon as possible, or at least in an area there they could be, call it ditched. We could ditch vehicles in an area if we had to just seclude them in an area park and then move along. But what they're doing right now is they're repositioning, and then they'll eventually come over here and they'll take this boom lift that's sitting back over here, it's moving right now, and they've disconnected everything in the front of the train, so now the entire train is being held by this cable assembly back there. So the next step, and this is the most dangerous step when you're dealing with a valley coaster like this, the next step is to go through and disconnect this chain. Now, that chain is currently holding maybe a ton, 2,000 pounds worth of weight on it as that train is lurched forward like that. So it's one of those things that's like, how do you take something that's under tension and then release the tension all of a sudden? And when you have a chain that's stretched with a ton of material behind it, how do you release that safely? Because that thing is going to go, it's going to come undone like a rubber band on you. So, and that's pretty dangerous. There goes that RT forklift down there. Don't know if you could see that driving down there, down behind that globe over there. These guys are getting ready to undo that come along in the back. Can't tell actually if it's a come along or if it's a cable coming down, but I think it looks just like a come along or a chain pole hooked onto the back, onto the structure, especially with the email they said it was hooked onto the structure. So what they're doing while they're getting that out of the way there, again, this is the most dangerous part here, disconnecting this cable, because you got two problems. One, it could come back at you physically and hurt you physically, being up there with that material. Two, it could get tangled up if you don't disconnect it properly. It could get tangled up into the train, and your worst case scenario is that it goes slack, and then the train catches it again, actually gains momentum, and then somehow catches it again, and then it will forcefully explode, and the chain will go in all sorts of directions. It can be extremely hazardous. So as you can see, they're up there right now. They're pulling the stuff off the back, or they're working on getting it pulled off the back. Do this bigger. Looks like they're getting something. They got some extra straps up on there. I would think the strap would already be in the coach, however, though. Okay, they just put a strap around something. I wonder if they're trying to bind the chain, maybe. Nope, they took it back off. Yeah, that looks like that come along's just free hanging down there. And this is everything I would have done myself in this exact same scenario. This close to the brake one, yep. I either would have used a bunch of chain pulls and just manually pulled it up there. If I could get a crane or something in there, or a forklift to do the work for me, I would have done that too. Get it right up there, and then once it gets up balanced to that, grab the back end of the thing and then remove from the front and then let it go. Looks like they're pretty much ready to pull it. Probably making sure everyone's clear. I see some radio communication. You guys clear? Yep, everyone's clear. Yep, we could send the train. Yep. Hold on to your butts. Yep. There you go. Yeah, I could hear clapping in the background. It's like, yeah, woo, good job, definitely. Oh man, the tension's off now. Okay, so I do want to go back and see one thing just real quick. Okay, watch when they release it. There's actually a chain still on it. See that? There's a cable or something right there. So that could be bad. That could be bad if that cable chain, it might have just been a tagline like a rope. It might have just been that. But if that wraps around something else as it gets into the brake run, that could do other damage. But it must have been something on the smaller end. Sometimes you use fabric straps and things like that that are, they look wide, but there's really nothing to them. Probably if it caught on something, it would just break like a piece of string. Not a big deal. And then the come along or chain pull that was down here that wrapped around the track or that came up and slammed into the track, it is just a piece of chain that it made more noise than anything else. Maybe it took a couple dings into the paint, but it's really not bad. This was about as an easy textbook recovery as you could almost possibly get. They had to do a little bit of heavy work to get it up to this point in the hill, and then they did the common let's pull it from the front just like I would have done. Once it starts to get close to teetering, you put a chain pull on it and then slowly let it out as you bring it over. Then once the weight's officially on that back chain pull, you just go ahead and all right, take the stuff off the front and then devise some sort of quick release method for that chain pull up there. It could have been something, they could have had a quick opening shackle or something like that that they put in there. They could have used just a piece of rope wrapped around it, and the guy could have just, cut it with a knife. That's like something out of, just put a rope around there a bunch of times so the rope will hold the weight as long as it's, quadrupled up. And then at the end, you just go in there and cut the rope, and the whole thing comes apart and it goes forward. Yeah, this was a great video, something you don't see all the time too. Thank you so much again for Face Ripped Off for sending me the video. I really appreciate that. That was so cool, and it was something to see. That's so cool when you can actually see that train finally pushed back over and recovered, especially when it's saddled out on the track somewhere like that. First time here, like, subscribe, do all this stuff. I try to do these videos whenever possible, whenever they come up. People like sending me stuff like that, and it's really cool to see. I love getting out there and seeing new things and seeing how rides break down in new ways. Again, speculation for the video is that it was simply just a high wind day. Rides valley all the time because of wind. I've done it myself. I've been at plenty of places where they won't even send trains over a certain miles per hour. So it's just a wind event. Nothing was actually wrong with the ride. And then where it was stuck upside down when the video started, that was simply just they had positioned it there because it was at the end. They got it to where they needed to be to let it go. All right. If you want to email me, go ahead, do that, ryantheridermechanic@yahoo.com. Otherwise, you can just leave a comment down there. I try to respond to people or do something to show people I'm still listening. I may not physically respond, but I pretty much check all the comments out there. Stay off the air gates. Take care. Bye.